So Titans really does feel like the best show on TV at points, and season 4 really has gone back to its dark and horror-based roots, and that ending just means part 2 of season 4 is just going to be unbelievable. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, Lifestyle Critic. I hope you're having a brilliant day. So in this video, we are going to be breaking down season 4 part 1. Now, I absolutely love Titans. I love the whole DC world at large, but I just feel like this Titans TV show in particular is just so brilliant. They've got phenomenal actors, brilliant characters, and all of the storylines are just so gripping. Every single episode is just building their wider narrative, whilst also being really juicy and really awesome in its own right. And I just feel like season 4 has really addressed a lot of the fan feedback that we had for the show in terms of making it less Dick Grayson centric, making it more about the team, having a lot more horror based stuff taking place, and also having true Titans based villains. And I feel like they've done a really good job in addressing all of that. I mean, that being said, I do miss the fact that Dick Grayson isn't front and center like he was across the first 3 seasons. It really was Dick Grayson's show. And now, of course, he is still the leader of the pack, but I feel like his character has become a lot more vanilla and isn't as edgy or as cool as he used to be, which is such a shame, as Brenton Thwaites is such an accomplished actor and has just demonstrated that he can just do so much with this character. So I hope that they do a lot more with Dick Grayson, but at least so far as the first part of season 4 is concerned, it's been really wicked. I have really enjoyed this season, and I do love the fact that, you know, you do get to know all of the different Titan members so much more this season. It feels a lot more similar actually to Young Justice and also Teen Titans, but just obviously with a much darker, edgier and more grown-up feel. And I do love the fact that Superboy is now front and center as well, as he is such a brilliant character, and we were always saying that, you know, this character has got so much more to give, and they really have demonstrated that with this season. And I also love the fact that we're in Metropolis this season. Gotham City was great, but I feel like they really are embracing the fact that they are in Metropolis this season, which is really great, and I just cannot wait to break down season 4 part 1 with you even more. And we are also going to be talking about the ending and making some predictions of part 2. So fasten your seatbelts, as we are going to be taking a massive ride down season 4. So let's go through the 3 big main storylines for season 4 part 1. I'll go through everybody's individual storylines in the character section. So first of all is obviously the rise of Trigon, which was started all the way back with Lex Luthor wanting to beat death and obviously wants to use dark forces in order to achieve this, which has led to the rise of Mother Mayhem, who is a very powerful character and a true threat to all of the Titans. I loved it. The first time that they even see this character, she has taken all of them out, which was just unbelievable. And obviously she wants to use this to fulfill the prophecy of her son becoming Brother Blood and the transformation of Sebastian into Brother Blood. On that point, because this is a TV show, I feel like they can benefit so much more in terms of really connecting the audience and really seeing the transformation, so that when it does happen at the end of the first part of season 4, it just means so much and you just feel betrayed like all of the Titan members were. So it was just so incredible and it was just so hard hitting. And even though it was a little bit of a slow burn and you do know what's going to happen, as obviously for all of the promotional materials you have seen Sebastian turning into Brother Blood, but it was still so unbelievable to see the transformation and also just the degradation with the character. And even though he did come across as being really nice, and time after time loads of people just let him down, you can see that, you know, this is his opportunity as far as he is concerned to finally have the tables turn and finally be really powerful. So he just wants to give in to that temptation. So it was just so well told, and it was such a dark storyline, and I feel like it really did embrace its demonic tones, especially with all of the snakes, with all of the blood deaths. And I loved the fact that it harked back to season 1 in so many ways, as of course Trigon was the main big bad of that season, but also the destruction of the asylum, they went back to that, and obviously all of that destruction led to Mother Mayhem being freed. So I thought that was so clever. So the second big overarching storyline is of course Metropolis, which kind of feels like its own character, and obviously this is the home of Lex Luthor, and I love the Lex Luthor that we saw in this TV show. It just felt like the true Lex Luthor. I would have loved to have seen a little bit more business expertise from this guy, as obviously he is just such a mastermind within this space, but they killed him off after 1 episode, which is so disappointing. disappointing, as they definitely could have done so much more. I feel like they were really responding to the criticism that the third season just felt like a pseudo Batman show, and obviously they didn't want to have a similar criticism in terms of season 4 just feels like a bit of a Superman show. But that being said, I feel like the death of Lex Luthor just led to the rise of the Lex Luthor side of Conor, which was so wicked. It felt a little bit cartoony, if I'm being honest, when he transformed into Lex Luthor and was just overacting in terms of really highlighting that I'm not going to channel my Clark Kent side anymore, and instead I'm going to embrace the Lex Luthor side, which was interesting. But like I said, they definitely could have done it in a bit more of a sophisticated way. But that being said, Joshua Orpin, I feel like must be loving this season, as he is just able to bring so much. For example, being possessed by the snake and just having a bit of devilish side of him coming out. Obviously this maybe sparked the Lex Luthor side of him being able to take over his mind a lot more, and I absolutely loved it when he put on the glasses, and it really did show what a young Superman can look like and how cool of a character he really is. And if anything, I'm actually quite excited now to see how James Gunn is going to approach a similar young Superman based storyline, which will be really, really cool. And speaking of Superman, we haven't seen Clark Kent yet, as Kal-El has gone to another planet to do Superman business. So I think that was actually a really good idea, as we don't want to see Clark Kent just yet, but I do hope that we do see him at the end of season 4. And also in Metropolis is Star Labs, which has kind of become their new home, and I feel like this is really, really cool, as we can see some new abilities, new costumes, a lot of intense sequences taking place, and of course the relationship between Tim and Bernard. So I feel like Star Labs has been really, really cool, and I love how they really have shown that it is a bit of technology versus magic in this season. And the third and final big overarching storyline on that point is obviously all to do with their powers. So I think it was really great how at the start you can really see that Rachel is fully in her element, with all of the dark things that are going on and all of the powers and all of the supernatural stuff, but then removing that felt like the right thing to do as well, as I feel like Rachel was a little bit too powerful and could have actually helped the guys a lot, and taking her powers also did link into the wider Trigon storyline that was taking place. But also, while she doesn't have her powers, what does this mean? Is Rachel still valuable as a Titans member? What is this character going to feel like not having these powers? I feel like it really did ask a lot of great questions, but obviously because the Rachel character is so pure of heart and really did demonstrate this while she was a human, she was then able to evolve her powers and become White Raven, which I thought was such an incredible moment, as it really does show, you know, this character isn't dark and evil anymore, and she really has transformed herself and really has changed herself. So I can't wait to see more of White Raven later in the second part of season 4. And of course, Corey is still working out what her new powers means, and we haven't really still worked out what her powers even are, so hopefully we'll get to see a bit more of that. And Gar really has come to the forefront, and his powers are evolving as well, as he can now get into the red and speak with other animals on this other spiritual plane. And of course, like we mentioned before, the fall of Sebastian and the rise of Brother Blood. So from a powers point of view, this season has just been so good, and I just absolutely love the first part of season 4. So let's dive into that season finale a little bit more. So like I said in the beginning, I absolutely love Titans, and the end of part 1 of season 4 was really, really gripping. I mean, all of the episodes are really, really good, but I loved the fact that you can really feel the danger that all of these guys are in. For example, Mother Mayhem really manipulating Sebastian and really making him want to turn evil instead of forcing him into doing it. And like I said, you can really see that because of all of the past experiences, that Mother Mayhem is really forcing Sebastian to learn, and then really whispering in his ear to really push him and nudge him slowly, bit by bit, towards darkness, and really making him want to just embrace it and just fight back from all of the bullying that he has gone through, and just making it seem like this is the best and only way path for him. It really did show what an abusive character Mother Mayhem really is, but now she has actually been successful in transforming Sebastian into Brother Blood, and even though we haven't seen all of his powers at work yet, the fact that he was able to scream and just send all of the Titans and all of these characters away really does show that this guy really is going to be the threat at the end of this world. And I think it's really, really clever and really intriguing actually that Sebastian and Rachel are brother and sister. And this relationship, what it means for the second part, is going to be so interesting, especially as Rachel has now transformed into White Raven, and it seems as if Jinx has been killed by Mother Mayhem. There is no chance that they would spend all that money on Jinx's new costume just to kill this character off, so I definitely think she's going to come back. Superboy just becoming a little bit like the Red Hood and just doing his own thing, not really listening to Dick Grayson and fully embracing his Lex Luthor side and just trying to save the day on his own. On that point, I love the fact when he was having that really uncomfortable conversation with Dick Grayson and saying, look, I'm your most valuable and most powerful player. Everybody else is pretty useless. That really did show that you can't have an ego if you want to be successful, as obviously the Titans have been so successful thus far, especially when they do form a bit of a unit and a team, and when people do go out on their own, they do break the team, and instead, if he had actually worked with the team, they could have stopped everybody. So I thought that was a really great lesson that they were showcasing through this character. And like I said before, Gar is obviously becoming really, really important. He has been prophesied to be the one that is able to save everybody, and the fact that he is able to go into the red and was speaking to somebody and then they kind of disappeared, all of those sequences were so good. So like I said, the ending of part 1 of season 4 was so awesome. So speaking of the second part of season 4, let's do some predictions of what could take place. So we already know that Curran Walters is definitely going to have a bit of a cameo appearance as Red Hood, and I already just can't wait for the inevitable confrontation between Red Hood and with Dick Grayson, as the scenes between these two characters has always been so good across all 3 seasons, and I just can't wait to now have Red Hood just saying, look Dick, what on earth did you do with all of this destruction? I just think it's such a shame that they don't have Conor Leslie's Wonder Girl as Donna Troy. Such perfect casting, such an awesome character, and they've just wasted her across these 3 seasons, and I just can't believe that she's not here in season 4, as we do need to have a bit of a Titans trinity, and it's just such a crying shame that they just have wasted this character. So I'm just really hopeful that we do get Donna Troy here too. As Conor / Superboy has demonstrated, he just cannot be relied upon, so I think he is actually going to continue to try to save the day on his own, as of course now he is a lot more like Lex Luthor, and Lex Luthor's got a massive ego, and he's obviously got the superpowers of Superman. So I hope that they play with that relationship a lot more, as Lex Luthor has always wanted superpowers, and now finally he kind of has got that through the Conor character. Maybe Lex Luthor could even be resurrected, and like I said, Clark Kent is definitely going to make an appearance at the end of season 4, so all of them 3 having some scenes together could be so awesome. White Raven and Corey's powers definitely are going to grow even more, and I just cannot wait for them to just use their powers and just try and stop all of these demonic characters. That could be so awesome. Jinx, right in the beginning of this season, was positioned as another villain, so maybe Mother Mayhem and Brother Blood are going to turn her into the evil side, especially as she is a key magical player. I have loved her as part of the Titans, as she definitely has brought a new dynamism to the group, but it would be so threatening if she actually went over to the dark side. And obviously it's been built up this entire first part of this season that Trigon is eventually going to rise, especially with the prophecy of Brother Blood being created as now being fulfilled. So Trigon's rise could be really, really brilliant. And what this then means for his confrontation with Rachel, his relationship with Sebastian, is he going to unceremoniously also kill Mother Mayhem like he did Rachel's mother? That could be really, really interesting. And also I feel like 1 or 2 characters are going to die, and maybe Bernard is going to be that character. Maybe Trigon kills Bernard, maybe Brother Blood kills Bernard, which is going to push Tim Drake over the edge, and then he is going to become his version of Robin as well. So many awesome things, and I just cannot wait for part 2 of season 4. So the entire cast and characters of Titans are just so good. So let's go through them one by one. So first of course we have Brenton Thwaites brilliantly playing Dick Grayson and Nightwing. Like I said before, his prominence has been massively decreased, as he was the show for the first 3 seasons. Whereas this time, they've definitely scaled this character back so much more, as now he just checks in on everyone, he's just the driver. Fair enough, he has got a couple of really cool action sequences, but in terms of a dedicated storyline, he hasn't really got one this season. He is a great leader of the Titans, and he definitely does embody a lot of the Batman aspects of that character, and I love all of the sequences between him and with Superboy, as it does feel like Superman and Batman are just fighting from a younger perspective. So he definitely is such a vital team member, but I just really hope that they give Brenton Thwaites' Dick Grayson character so much more to do in the second part. However, that being said, Joshua Orpin has massively been able to fill that void as Conor / Superboy / his version of Lex Luthor / being possessed. He has been so good, on fire this season. This season really has been all about him, especially as they have been in Metropolis. Like I said, that glasses sequence embodying Superman / Clark Kent was so good. Then him wanting to find out more about his Lex Luthor side, and even wanting to leave the Titans temporarily so that he can build his relationship with Lex Luthor. I thought that was really, really understandable and also really, really great too. Like I said, a little bit cartoonish when he then gave into his Lex Luthor side, but it was still really, really cool. He was also in jail for a little bit. They definitely have shown that kryptonite has been used in so many different ways to power down this character. But even still, when he does become Lex Luthor, his ego just means that he thinks that he can do everything on his own. And this really has backfired, as he was fully trapped for a little while in that little devilish temple. And when he was possessed by the snake, I thought those sequences were really, really cool. And it really does show that Joshua Orpin really has got a lot of range and can bring and act so well in all of these different elements and parts. So I'm really, really excited actually to see more of this character in the second part. Anna Diop's Corey character has been really, really great this season. I mean, she herself said that she is really confused in terms of what is her identity, what is her purpose, and I think it's really, really interesting actually, as she has lost the key powers that really did make her feel like Starfire, and also has gone through so many different objectives when she just came onto Earth. So I feel like it's really understandable for this character to be really, really confused. And on top of that, she has this potential future and daughter with Dick Grayson, and also had the opportunity to stop Sebastian, but now has seen that Sebastian has turned into Brother Blood, so that guilt is really going to be with her. But she thought she could stop everything and save the day, and if she had killed Sebastian, then Rachel would never have forgiven her. So I think this character has just got so many difficult things to have to go through, but I feel like she really does show that despite all of that, she really is able to hold her own, and together with Dick Grayson, definitely does bring a lot of leadership and maternal aspects to the Titans group. Teagan Croft is so phenomenal as Rachel / Raven. I feel like she was perfectly cast for this role, and in the beginning really was a vital team member in terms of being able to use all of her dark powers and supernatural things and really understand what is going on at large. But then when she lost that, I thought it was really, really interesting in terms of what does this mean for the character. But then when she returned as White Raven after being purified, I thought that was so good. Her little character arc across this season has been so brilliant. And like I said, she is obviously the sister to Sebastian, so these two have so much in common, and what their relationship means for the second part could be really, really interesting in terms of, is Sebastian just going to completely forget about her and just embody his own darkness and just do whatever he wants to do, as from his perspective humanity has just let him down so much, so maybe he is just wanting to reject everybody? Or is Rachel being able to pull him in a similar way to how she was able to purify herself to be able to return, and then maybe he is going to join the Titans and stop Trigon once and for all. Maybe he is the only person that can do that. And in a similar way to how Mother Mayhem manipulated Sebastian, maybe Rachel will be the only person that can really bring him back into lightness. And then speaking of Sebastian, Joseph Morgan was so good in this season. Really did embody the loner side of Sebastian, just constantly being let down by humanity. And your heart was just breaking for this guy, as time after time after time, you can just see that he is just being rejected, and his heart would be breaking. So, you know, when he does have this opportunity laid out in front of him to be able to achieve all of his dreams, of course it's just shrouded with darkness, but you can understand why he did go for it. And maybe it does kind of have a bit of social commentary in terms of people who do come across as being really, really nice. Maybe they do have darkness underneath that, but you just can't see it. And maybe he didn't need that much manipulation at the end of the day to be able to push him over the edge. So it's really, really interesting in terms of all of the different layers that Joseph Morgan was bringing in his portrayal. Mother Mayhem really was the ultimate villain this season. You can really see, like I said before, how she was very similarly being consumed by darkness, and she was the master manipulator, really giving a bit of a master class in influencing and persuading, and how you can really convince somebody to do what you actually want them to do. And she really was a truly powerful character, and I loved it. They really gave this character a lot of backstory, so you can really understand how she became this ultimate bad character. Ryan Potter was so good as well as Guard, very similar to all of the other Titan members, really was at the forefront. And this guy maybe is going to save the day, as all of the voices in the red have been telling him that he is the only person, when it comes to it, is going to save the day. I hope that this doesn't mean that they're going to kill off Beast Boy. Maybe he has to sacrifice himself. But I have to say, Ryan Potter really does deliver. And you really can tell that this actor is loving being on set, as this really does come across in his portrayal, as he is such an energetic character, so full of hope, loves all of his team members, loves being part of this team, and is just transforming into anything and everything, even a virus, to save save Superboy. So it'd be really interesting to see what's going to happen when this character comes into the forefront even more and is even more prominent. Absolutely loved Jinx. Like I said, she just added such a new dynamic, so much charisma, so much energy at the time when the Titans really needed it, as I feel like the Titans team really were missing some players, and it was really cool to have Jinx in there as a bit of a pseudo player, even though she is a little bit on her own too. Absolutely loved the dynamic that she has with Brenton Thwaites' Dick Grayson character. Even though they do show that there is a bit of sexual tension and sexual chemistry between these two characters, they never really explored it. But what was really, really cool is the fact that they really did embrace its wider DC world. So I love the fact that, you know, Dick Grayson was saying, you know, he gave Jinx up to Constantine because she thwarted his plans with Two-Face. So I love the Jinx character, and I feel like they really need a bit of a magical expert. And of course, they've given her a brand new costume, so she is definitely going to be playing a bigger part in part 2. The question just is she going to be on the Titan side, or is she going to go over to the dark side? And then finally, we have Tim Drake, and I love Tim Drake. You can definitely feel his heart breaking when Superboy was saying, look, he is such a useless character, he can't even do anything. You could really feel that, as obviously you want to be part of the Titans in the same way that Tim wanted to be part of the Titans, but obviously as an audience member, we don't really have any power. So like I said, Tim Drake is really channeling that for the audience, so you really could feel how big of a blow that must have been for this character. But what this show is really good at is paying things off. So I feel like Tim is going to be such a valuable and key player, and maybe Superboy will eventually need Tim Drake to save him in a similar way that, you know, he has been training all season long, and the payoff when he killed that snake with the staff to save Bernard, it was just such a euphoric moment for this character as he has just finally achieved what he has dreamed of achieving, which was just such a brilliant and well-earned moment for this character. And like I said, I think he is going to be playing a big part in the second part, and I feel like he is then going to transform into Robin, which he has also been dreaming of too. So I feel like, you know, all of the casting characters were really, really good. I hope that they do give Dick Grayson a little bit more to do in the second part, but as far as all of them are concerned in this season, they have all been absolutely excellent. So from a visuals point of view, Titans always delivers, and I feel like season 4 part 1 in particular has been really, really good. All of the horror moments have just been unbelievable. All of the blood, all of the snakes, all of the demonic things that have been taking place, you really can feel a chill down your spine. And like I said, it really does embrace all of its thriller horror aspects, and it just comes across in such a believable way. I would have loved a little bit more fighting sequences and a lot more action taking place, but that being said, when it does happen, it is really, really cool, and Nightwing is always at the forefront of those sequences, which is absolutely excellent. Superboy has had a couple of Superboy moments, for example, breaking Sebastian out of jail and just sweeping into that demonic temple. That sequence was really, really cool. All of the other superpowers as well have been really, really great. Like I said, I would love to see a lot more though in the second part. All of the new costumes have been really, really cool, namely Jinx's one and White Raven's one. And of course, we're in Metropolis now, so it's really, really cool to see that massive statue of Superman. Star Labs really does show that it really is a technologically advanced location, and you really can feel that with all of their advancements as well. So I can't wait to see even more visual stuff taking place in the second part of season 4. So from a comparison perspective, let's first compare all 4 seasons of Titans. So even though we're only halfway through, I think so far this is stronger than the 3rd season of Titans, and I think it's on the same level as seasons 1 and seasons 2. I have always preferred Titans to Doom Patrol, and I think there are a couple of similarities between Titans and the 6th season of Riverdale, especially as that season really did embrace powers and the supernatural stuff and a lot of dark things, which Riverdale really is all about. And I love the fact that there were 1 or 2 clips of Riverdale that they were watching on the TV, which I thought was really, really funny. And I'd also compare it a little bit to The Sandman as well, in terms of having a lot of dark things taking place and being part of the wider DC world. So from a comparison perspective, season 4 really is showing that it's one of the strongest DC offerings from a TV perspective, as I do actually prefer Titans to a lot of the other offering shows from an Arrowverse perspective, and I put it on the same level as Superman and Lois and Stargirl. So overall, I'm sure you can tell, I absolutely love Titans. I think it's such a cool show. Love all of the cast members, love all of the characters. love the darker storytelling, love all of the things that take place, all the twists and turns, all of the earned moments that they have with the different characters, as they really do a good job in terms of building things up. And then the payoff that takes place is just so wicked. I honestly just can't wait to see what's going to happen in the second part. On that point, they've just built it all up so well, so it's just going to be so awesome. But as far as the first part of season 4 is concerned, I have to give it a massive 7.5 out of 10. Now I'd love to hear what you thought of Titans season 4 part 1, so please let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section below. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in my next video.